Lately, I've been thinking a lot about bad code and how, honestly, it gets a bad rap. I really believe that writing bad code is a critical skill in a great software developer's tool belt. As crazy as that sounds, I hope by the end of this video, you'll think so as well. In case you're new here, let me introduce myself. My name's Troy, and I've been writing code now for over 15 years. Throughout that time, I've worked for tons of companies, from small, early-stage startups to huge tech giants like Amazon. Most recently, I co-founded my own startup, where I'm the CTO and make all of the engineering hiring decisions. And one of the biggest problems that I see is that engineers aren't writing enough bad code. So what is bad code? Generally speaking, we can put bad code in 3 separate buckets. There's code that's poorly abstracted or tailor-built for one specific use case, the code that is slow or inefficient, and then there's just code that doesn't actually work. To be clear, I'm not trying to say that you should write code that doesn't work, but these first 2 are valuable tools to have in your tool belt when it makes sense for what you're working on. It's important to remember that when we're writing code for a business, and there's a real why behind the code we're writing. For example, say your business wants a way to send real-time messages back and forth between your customers. So you architect this really nifty solution that lets customers send messages that then go into some queue that automatically get prioritized by a series of customizable functions and then show up in a support queue for the designated department to address. That solution sounds awesome. The only problem is that your company is a soft drink distributor, and even at massive scale, you're only expecting to get 10 to 20 requests a day. So honestly, it would probably be better for you to just build a pretty basic real-time chat app by copying someone's tutorial on Medium. I remember at a previous company having a heated debate with a senior engineer that we had hired from some tech giant. He was pushing back on my suggestion to use a code generation tool called Hasura in our architecture. His argument was that at his previous company they had used a code generation tool in the past, and when they got to a big enough scale, they had to move off of it, and it cost the company millions of dollars. From his perspective, that makes sense. He joined the company years and years after they started using that code generation tool and only really got to experience the pain from moving off of it. He was missing something though. The company's decision to use that code generation tool was very likely the reason that they got to the scale that they did. It let them build faster, prove out the product market fit, and make changes really quickly. Sure, having to spend a bunch of time rebuilding it sucks. But there's a very real chance that they would have never made it to the scale where that was necessary had they not decided to use it. We ended up moving forward with my suggestion and using Hasura, and the tech stack that I designed there has supported the company well through being valued over $1 billion. The point I'm getting at here is that when we're developing, we have a ton of tools at our disposal. What's really important is that we pick the right one for our specific business needs. Knowing what tool you should reach for is what can make the difference between a good engineer and an absolute wizard. There's a tightrope that you have to walk between delivering business value and providing high-quality, scalable systems, and admittedly, it's a hard line to walk. I've worked with tons of brilliant people who get it wrong. To close, not every piece of code we write needs to be brilliant. I've written thousands upon thousands of lines of code that weren't well abstracted or super efficient. And most of that code is still being used years and years later. So please go build an incredibly robust, efficient system when it's warranted. But don't be afraid to write some hacky, bad code when that's what the business needs. By the way, the majority of people watching aren't subscribed, so if you enjoy this content and want to see more, I would really appreciate a subscription.